What's up, guys? So today I figured we would have a little bit of fun and slap some paint on this Glock 19. I'm just kidding. Here we have a cheapy HiPoint C9. I've had this guy for probably about 7 years at this point, and I think it's about time we just throw some new paint on it just to give it kind of a new look. But as you guys can see here, this is just a good old cheapy pop metal HiPoint C9. This is their compact version. It's a good little gun, but it's just super heavy, and it's, you know, it kind of feels like an arcade toy half the time you're messing with it. But anywho, we grabbed a couple cans of paint. I got the idea when I came across this Rust-Oleum moss green. This is a satin finish, but you can kind of see the top there. That's the color we're working with. I don't think you'll be able to read it there, but there's that mossy green. So that sounds like it'll be fun. And then we also have this hunter green, as you guys can see there, and that is just Rust-Oleum paint and primer mix. This is a semi-gloss, so I'm not sure how this will turn out, but anywho, let's go ahead and put the two together and see how it looks. Alrighty guys, so just like any good spray can job, got to shake up this can of, we're just going to go screw it and start off with this hunter green and start shaking it up for about a minute. Alrighty guys, so it's been about a minute. We got this can shaken up pretty good, and just for anybody that's curious, we do have a little bitty piece of, I guess you would say, right about there, we got a little bitty blue piece of painter's tape just to cover up the end of the barrel, just that way we don't get any spray dust or build up inside the barrel. At the end of the day, this is a cheap gun, so even if we do get a little bit of paint in there, it's no big deal. Starting off with the hunter green semi-gloss. Let's see. Okay, that's good for that side. Already it's looking pretty cool. Yeah, it's definitely I guess a nice kind of a dark forest green. I can see why they call it hunter green. Well, we'll go ahead and let that dry. Here you can see it after some light coating of the hunter green, and already I think it looks pretty cool. Just in case you guys are wondering if I'm going to be using some natural shrubbery or some broken twigs from a tree branch, I'm actually not going to be doing that. I'm planning on using some overlapping runs of this little toy tree that my son got in one of his play sets. So we're going to go ahead and just lay this over in different fashions and lay down coat after coat after coat, and we'll just see how it goes, going back and forth between the moss green and the hunter green, and see what type of cool pattern we can come up with. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out, but this is just be a fun little experiment. Now we're coming in with the moss green, the satin finish. Let's go ahead and give it one last little shakeroo. Now it's been several minutes. Let's try just doing a little section of it on the handle grip, and let's just see how this turns out. Zoom in here so you guys can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. Well, just hitting it a little bit there. Let's just lift that right up. Okay. So it's leaving, if you guys can see that, it's kind of leaving some little impressions of of what's going on there. So pop this out of the way just so you can kind of see a comparison. So it's looking okay. I guess we'll just keep hacking away and see how it turns out. Here you can see it's starting to, it looks like I guess I threw a bunch of clovers on it. It's looking a little on the silly side, but little by little we're making progress. I'm just going back and forth between the hunter green and the moss green, and it's somewhat creating this kind of somewhat of a, it's not really going, I guess, no, it's starting to look kind of camo-ish, but anywho, we're just kind of experimenting with this, so I hope you guys find it entertaining. Here's kind of an up close and personal look at it. The sun's kind of hitting it, so it's a little difficult to see, you know, like I guess the green that's popping out in it, but looks like I dropped a bunch of grass on it, a bunch of clovers, so it's not looking super great, but we're gonna keep having at it and trying a couple different angles, and I might even find a couple sticks or two here and see if we can't change it up a little bit. Alrighty guys, so now I found some somewhat kind of wiry pieces of grass that grow on my patio here at my home. So we're gonna go ahead and throw that on there. And I got some of these that kind of have some fresh grass leaves growing out of them, so they're a little bit more lengthy. But we're gonna toss this little mix up on top of the gun and see how it goes. Alrighty guys, so we're starting to make a little bit more progress. We have that silly little kind of clover pattern going on the handle there, and then up top you can kind of see those strands of grass, those blades of grass are starting to come together on top there, and we're just jumping back and forth between the two. So starting to come together and look a little bit more camo-y, a little bit more on the not so trashy, horrible side. So let's just keep having at it. Alrighty guys, so I'm not sure how good this is going to come up on the camera, but this is just kind of a an after look, if you will, of how the camo job turned out. Granted, this is only the left hand side of the gun, but I think it's looking pretty good. We've got somewhat of a grass pattern going up here along the slide, and then we have that little tree toy that we were using to make this kind of clover looking pattern, and it's kind of scattered, but we got a nice mixture of both paints to where we're going back and forth on that hunter green and that moss green. So we're gonna go ahead and have at it and see if we can see if you guys can see that pretty good there. We're gonna go ahead and play around with the other side, and I think of course it'd be wise to, you know, maybe do some touch-ups and put a little black paint on some of these small spaces, you know, repaint the trigger and black it out and stuff like that, just to kind of give it a little bit more character. And then we'll probably even go ahead and you know, just to get the sights cleaned up and looking nice again, we'll go ahead and put some of that. I've got a buddy that uses some of that that glow-in-the-dark paint. You know, it might be a good idea to put a couple dots of that glow-in-the-dark stuff on the sides just to give them a better lineup. But you can get a good look at it right here, and I think it's a pretty cool little pattern. It's good contrast, and down in South Texas there's kind of a lot of this faded satin sandy color, and a lot of my camo consists of grass and cactus and grass. So I think this came out pretty decent, you know. I don't really sit around and camouflage guns often with spray paint cans, so I think this looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and get started, and we'll go ahead and knock out the other side and get this painted up. Alrighty, so now we have a little piece of cardboard acting as a shield that's ultimately going to let us focus on one small section at a time. So I had already kind of laid over a little spray shot of the moss green, so let's hit it up with a little bit of this hunter green semi-gloss. That's it. Just two little careful sprays, and we'll just give that a few minutes and we'll come back to it. We've got a little bit more of that grass effect that's taking place here, of course. And now the next step is just to repeat the pattern back and forth and bounce between the two colors until we have something that we're happy with. So let's go ahead and lay down some more and see what we got next. As you can see here, we got this toy figurine that's back in the picture, the little fake tree toy that we've laid over the back of the slide. Underneath it is a moss green. Are you a good singer? Sing some more. Some more. Yeah. All in all, I think we're left with a pretty good design on the pistol. Went ahead and got it all finished up, and let's take a closer look at this thing so you guys can see it for what it turned out to be. So, getting in here on it, you guys can see it has somewhat of a glossy shine to it, just a tad there, but that, just like we had shown earlier, that grassy finish came out pretty decent up along the top of the HiPoint. You got that grass effect, so I think that looks pretty decent there. And then of course we have that kind of that clovery tree branch effect with the leaves, those little, with that little figurine toy. So, and for the other side, kind of did the same effect, had a decent outcome with the grass effect. Still, as you guys probably can agree, the this side definitely came out a little bit better. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I feel like that's kind of hard to beat considering the two different types of paint that I was using. But everything's looking pretty decent on it. I think the next step is to go ahead and just go ahead and we'll black out the edge of this trigger and kind of give it a little bit of character on that little trigger piece. But I don't know. I think it looks pretty good. I'm fairly happy with it. So I hope you guys have liked this little rundown on this HiPoint C9. Feel free to comment, like, share, subscribe, whatever. Maybe it encourages you to take one of your old handguns and spice it up and give it a new look. But at the end of the day, I would not recommend doing this to a gun that is of high value. You know, this is a $150 gun. You can buy these at a pawn shop for 110, 120 bucks all day long. So, and they're not very attractive to begin with, so I don't think you're really going to be ruining a quality firearm. So if you guys are wanting to spice up the look on your HiPoint, maybe this is an option you want to consider. Maybe you're a camo fanatic like myself and you want to give it a try. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, felt that it was informative. We appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.